What's going on, Raider Nation, and welcome to the Raider Critique. I know that I'm late on this post-game review, but man, why don't we just go ahead and hop right over into it. This was a great win for our football team. This was just a great win all the way around, especially going with what we're going to have to deal with this today against, another sworn AFC West division rival. We all know who that is, and we're going to go over that game as well. So this is going to be your post-game review for the Raiders and Broncos, and then your pre-game for the Raiders versus the Chiefs at Allegiant Stadium. So let's go over this game right here, man. The Raiders came out on top of the Broncos, 37-12. It really didn't look like it was going to be this type of score throughout the first half. Since we barely did anything, man. It was basically 10-6 at the end of the first half. We're going to go ahead and go over the stats, and I'm going to shout out my players of the game on who I believe should have were the players of the game in my eyes. But let's just hop right on over into it, man. This was a great week. This was week 10, and we're going into week 11 right now. But let's go ahead and go over the offense of our beloved Las Vegas Raiders. Derek Carr went 16-25 for 154 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. The elephant in the room, which was just like the week prior, was our run game, Raider Nation. Josh Jacobs, 21 carries for 112 yards, 2 touchdowns, average 5.3. Devontae Booker, 16 carries, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. Isn't that what I called for? Didn't I say they'd have a couple touchdowns apiece? And then Derek Carr had 4 carries for 10 yards, 2.5 yards a carry. Receptions, Darren Waller, 3 receptions on 5 targets for 37 yards. Henry Ruggs, 3 receptions for 31 yards on 4 targets. Hunter Renfrow, 2 for 30. And man, this guy is really becoming one of my favorite wide receivers on this football team, man. 2 receptions, 2 targets for 30 yards. Josh Jacobs, 4 receptions, 24 yards on 4 targets. Bryan Edwards got into the mix. 1 target for 16 yards on a reception. Nelson Aguilar, he didn't have a very good game, but he did have 1 reception for 8 yards. Zay Jones, 1 reception for 6 yards. Devontae Booker, 1 reception for 2 yards. Now, fumbles, Nevin Lawson had a forced fumble, and he recovered it. Nevin Lawson, and I keep wanting, I always mess up his name, man, but Nevin Lawson is starting to come into his own. He's doing a lot better than what he was earlier throughout the season, and, I think that even though he might not be the best player on the field, a lot of these other podcasters and YouTubers are, really tear him down. I've even been known to tear him down too, but he does fit the scheme on what we are trying to do as a football team. I'm not saying that he's not a piece that's not absolutely needed for this football team, but it's nice to have the depth, and at least he knows the system, and he is making certain plays to change the games. Now, we're going to hop on over here to defense, because defense is where it was at, because we created 4 turnovers on defense. They need to just go ahead and pat themselves on the back, and every single one of these defensive players need to get a game ball, because they dominated Drew Lock, and I'll even go over and hop over into some of their stats after I get done talking about defense here, but Jeff Heath, man. Jeff Heath, the only one to pick off Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes only has one interception on the year, and that was by Jeff Heath. He came through today, well, he came through last week, 2 interceptions, 42 yards on 2 pass deflections. Awesome, man, awesome. Kwiatkowski, the one-handed Odell Beckham interception that he pulled off. 1 interception for 9 yards, man. He also had 2 pass deflections. Colin Nassib got into the interception column as well. He got 1 interception for a 23-yard return. And he also got 1 pass deflection. Nevin Lawson on his 1 pass deflection. LaMarcus Joyner, which will not be playing this game, I don't believe. He had one this next game up against the Chiefs. He won't be playing, but he had 1 pass deflection. Eric Harris had 1 pass deflection, and then Nicholas Morrow also had 2 pass deflections, who also did a very good job filling in for Littleton. Did a very good job. A lot of people hated on me for talking high on Nicholas Morrow. And I thought Nicholas Morrow he's a pretty good linebacker. He fits our scheme, and he does what he needs to do. He's not the greatest in coverage, but he is suffice enough to be out there and playing. I mean, you don't make the NFL by being a scrub, man. I don't care what string you play. The worst NFL football player is better than you and me combined. Just remember that. So, got more defense here. Nick Kwiatkowski had 6 tackles, 2 assists. Trayvon Mullen, 6 tackles, 1 assist. LaMarcus Joyner, 4 tackles, 1 assist. Sorry about that. Nicholas Morrow, 4 tackles, 1 assist, and 1 sack. So he did get and hit the quarterback, Drew Lock. Jonathan Abram had 4 tackles. Eric Harris had 2 tackles, 3 assists. Malik Collins, 2 tackles, 1 assist. Arden Key, 2 tackles. Arden Key was actually balling out last game. Max Crosby had 2 tackles, 1 assist, 1 sack, 2 tackles. Both of his tackles, by the way, were for a loss. Max Crosby, man, what a great guy to have on this football team. This whole defense needs to applaud themselves. We definitely all need to appreciate what this defense is doing. Because even with the scheme that we are running, this defense is figuring out ways to get off the field and get our offense back out there to where we can put up a bunch of points. I'm totally digging it, man. David Irving had 1 tackle, 1 assist. Nevin Lawson, 1 tackle. Jeff Heath, 1 tackle. Jonathan Hankins, 1 tackle. And Cleveland Farrell to round it all off at 1 tackle. Then we've got special teams. Daniel Carlson, 100%. This guy is on fire. People are calling him DC2. I'm not going to go outside of the realm. He's DC2 to me, man. 3 for 3 on field goals, 52 for his long, and 4 for 4 on extra points. AJ Cole had 4 punts. I mean, that's a lot of punts, but he's doing well for himself. He's 43.5 average. 3 of those punts out of the 4 were inside the 20, and he had a long of 61. He's a great punter, man. I like having this guy on the football team. I do miss Marquette King, but at least we've got somebody in here who is just as good as Marquette King was when he was a Raider. Kickoff returns, Jalen Richard, 1 return for 14. Henry Ruggs, 1 return for 21. Punt returns, Hunter Renfrow, 3 returns, 6.7 average. His long was 16. So that was the stats for the Broncos game. And I mean, that's just basically stats. Let's go over here and look at the Broncos just because. Just because, man. Because this defense, I've been harping on this defense. A lot of these people have been harping on this defense. Us YouTubers, us podcasters, we've been harping on this defense about how they suck and how Paul Guenther doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I still don't think Paul Guenther knows what the hell he's doing, but I do think that this defense is finally starting to get what they need to do. Drew Lock, 23 of 47 for 257 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions. Melvin Gordon was held to under 50 yards on 11 carries on a 4.2 average. Royce Freeman, 2 carries for 11 yards. Drew Lock, 2 carries for 7 yards, and Philip Lindsay 4 carries for 2 yards. Passing, Jerry Jeudy had 4 receptions for 68 yards. Tim Patrick 4 receptions for 61 yards on 6 targets. Jerry Jeudy was targeted 8 times. KJ Hamler 4 receptions on 10 targets for 50 yards. Deshaun Hamilton 4 receptions on 6 targets for 33 yards. He was the one who had the touchdown. And Noah Fant was targeted 7 times. He made 3 receptions for 18 yards. Now I could keep going over their stats right here, but all this goes to show is that our defense is holding these receivers underneath 100 yards receiving during the game, and they were also holding the running backs underneath 50 yards rushing in this game. This is the way we need our defense to play, especially when we have to go in here and play the Chiefs. Now this right here I do want to talk about, because I have been harping more about the defense more as of lately on this video, but we did it right here with the running game. We definitely did it right here with the running game. We solidified the running game. We took over the time of possession, and we ran the ball straight down Denver's throat, man. This is probably the best running back duo in the NFL. I am so pleased with this running back duo, and having Jalen Richard as a spell halfback, bringing him in on passing downs, he has not disappointed either, man. This is a very good running back room. And I am so happy to be getting back to old school Raider football, where we're throwing the ball, short slant routes, and deep down the field, and running the ball down teams' throats. These guys right here have made our offense so dynamic, along with our wide receivers who are coming down with catches and getting free and open in wide open spaces, and our offensive line blocking the way they've been blocking, even though that we have suffered from all of the injuries and the COVID protocols. Tom Cable has had this offensive line ready to protect Derek Carr, to where it puts us in these opportunities to be able to put up points like 37 and 40. It's a great feeling to have a nice isolated offense, a very dynamic offense that is doing everything they can do to win, to score points, to win these football games. And the defense has been stepping up also, man. But this is my player of the game. It has to be Jeff Heath, because he came down with those 2 interceptions and he had 2 pass deflections. But I'm not going to lie. The Nassib and the Kwiatkowski interceptions were absolute highlight reel interceptions, man. It topped the game off to dominate the Broncos the way we needed to dominate the Broncos. This is 2 out of 3, Raider Nation. This is 2 out of 3 of the division games for the last 3-game stretch that we needed to win to solidify our dominance in the AFC West, regardless of what the records say. And this week, Raider Nation, is no different. We have had all types of issues, man, and I'm even going to go ahead and hop over into the injury report, because we already know that this week right here, week 11, the primetime game that we are getting ready to play is been completely surrounded with controversy from the... And I'm gonna touch on everything as much as I can here without forgetting or messing up anything. But let's start with the COVID-19 problems that we wound up getting again, Raider Nation. Except for this time, it was Corey Littleton and Clelin Ferrell who tested positive. I think Littleton tested positive last week, but Clelin Ferrell tested positive this week. All the location trackers of every single player on our starting defense basically popped off. Our starting defense did not get to practice all week because of this COVID-19 epidemic. So there's definitely going to be an asterisk next to whoever wins the Super Bowl this season, because of this COVID-19 incident. And I'm not taking anything away from us. This is going to be a very hard uphill battle. As a matter of fact, I didn't even predict a score for this game because I don't even know how this game's going to even pan out. I don't think any of us do. Well, our whole starting defense wasn't even able to attend practice this week due to COVID-19 protocols. And then, of course, all these mainstream media people talking about this Voyage victory lap bus ride that we did around the Chiefs Stadium the last time we beat them in Arrowhead on week 5, I believe it was. And Andy Reid's all mad about it, and Patrick Mahomes is vowing vengeance and whatever. It's a good storyline. It's a primetime game. We do all know this, that everybody is going to be glued in tonight to this game to see how everything pans out. Now, from what I can tell about the injury report, I looked at the injury report a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm going to go ahead and hop over into that, man, because I think that we all need to kind of see what happened with this COVID. It is Sunday at 2:12 p.m. Central Standard Time, so this is literally about five hours before game time. So that's when this video is going to be coming at you from the information that I got here. But I'm getting this off of the Las Vegas Raiders website. So let's go ahead and just transfer on over here and get that out of the way. Sorry about this, Raider Nation. Let's click on over here, man. So Eric Harris, his injury was the oblique, limited on Wednesday, Thursday. He was full participation on Friday. Looks like Maurice Hurst was limited all week. He's questionable for his game status. Alec Ingold was limited all week due to his ribs, but it looks like he's playing. Colton Miller was one of the big things that just happened. I think it was roughly about an hour ago. He was mentioned that he is going to play. He was limited for Wednesday and Thursday, but he was in full participation Friday. Nicholas Morrow's in full participation. Carl Nassib is in full participation. Keyshawn Nixon with a groin. He was limited on Wednesday, but he was in full participation on Thursday and Friday. Darren Waller for his back was in full participation. Sam Young, knee and back, he was limited, but he was in full participation on Friday. And Jalen Richard is questionable because he did not participate all week. The Kansas City Chiefs Week 11 injury report. This is what they've got lined up for them. Cornerback Bo Pete Keys, his illness, he did not participate, but he was in full participation Thursday and Friday. He will be there. Taco Charlton is out. Mike Remmers is questionable. The rest of these guys are full except for Sammy Watkins, who is questionable. And then you've got Mitchell Schwartz, who is out. Eric Fisher. I thought he was on the COVID list. I guess he is good. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But as you can see, this is the injury report. So we're going to go ahead and hop on over here, man. And let's see this one right here. So, I mean, this is basically where we're at, Raider Nation. We're going to have to play an absolute stellar game, and we don't know if we're going to really be able to do it. With our whole defense who wasn't able to practice all week, I think our offense will be on point for this game because it's just like last time we played them. We're going to have to be coming at them, throwing bombs, running the ball down their throat, basically imposing our will to have a shootout with this football team. It's got to be a shootout because if it's not a shootout, man, we're going to lose quite badly. All right? They're coming in with fire up underneath them. At least that's what mainstream media says. That's what they've said in their press conferences. And, you know, they're going to come out. They're going to come straight at us. They really are. And we need to be ready for it. I'm just hoping that our defense is not going to take this game lightly, and I hope that they really paid attention on, however, the virtual practices. As much as they could get from those, I'm hoping that that's what they do, man. I'm hoping they get everything all lined up. But I don't have a prediction for this game. And the reason why I don't have a prediction for this game is because there's absolutely too many what-ifs. The only thing I'm saying is that we need to put our fastest defender, whether it's a defensive end or whether it's a linebacker or even a safety, into a quarterback spy, and we need to play this game just like we played them last time. And then we work them with the run game and beating them deep down the field. Frustrate this team and also develop quarterback pressures against their football team to force Patrick Mahomes to run around outside of the pocket and make bad decisions, because that's what we did. That's exactly what we did last time we played this team. So anyway, Raider Nation, this has been your post-game review for Week 10 and your pre-game review for Week 11 right here on the Raider Critique. Now I'm gonna hop out into the outro, man, but not before we sit there and I'm gonna go ahead and do something that I normally don't do on this channel. So I'm gonna have to back up on this thing so it doesn't really echo too bad all in your guys' ears. But Raiders! Let's go get that win, baby. Raider Nation for life.